Toe meets leather. We are underway. Scott watches it go over the top of his head, out of bounds. It'll be 1st and 10 from the 25. Let's go down to Quint for more on the NC State quarterback, Bailey.
Growing up, he was a huge Miami fan. He told me this week, my favorite team was Miami. I dreamed to be a Hurricane, but no offer came. In 8th grade, he had high school teammates who were getting offers. He led his high school team to 3 state championships, yet no offer came until the 24th hour. They tried to flip him. He said no. Here he is. This game means a ton for C.J. Bailey. This game is personal.
Highly motivated. Throws it on 1st down and throws a strike complete to Keenan Jackson, their slot receiver, who picks up the 1st down. And there is an illustration, Roddy, of his arm talent.
He is incredibly talented, both with his arm and his legs. 2nd in the ACC in QBR, 4th in pass yards, and 2nd in pass touchdowns. He's been one of the best quarterbacks in the league this year.
1st and 10 from the 41. Little movement up front. We've got some flags down to the field. Justin Scott apparently moving first.
And early on, Mark, pre-snap penalties for Miami. It's been an issue for them all year long.
It has been a theme all season.
Ball start. Offense, number 6. 5-yard penalty. 1st down.
I stand corrected.
Right, let's take a look at Chili's 3 impact players today.
Well, Justin Joly, the excellent tight end for NC State, back this week. He's going to be a big mismatch against this Miami defense. And for Miami, it's the 2 defensive ends, Akeem Mesidor, Ruben Bain.
Mesidor's been banged up a little bit this year. That pass knocked away at the 46-yard line by Bryce Fitzgerald. Keep in mind, number 13 on your screen right there is a freshman starting for Keontae Scott.
How about this from our ref cam? You get a look at what C.J. Bailey's staring at as the pocket collapses around him, and zoom! That ball went right by our ears. A great shot.
That was coming in hot. 2nd and 15 for North Carolina State. Bailey dumps it off. Checks it down to Joly. Transfer from UConn, brought down by Armando Blunt. It'll be 3rd down coming up on the gain of 7.
Going back to Justin Joly, he's one of the best tight ends in the entire country. It's because of his ability to both affect the run game with his blocking and the pass game as well. They can split him out wide. They can line him up in line. They like to get him the ball in any way they can. He's also a big target on 3rd downs.
These are the situations tailor-made for Bain and Mesidor, those 2 ends. Pressure coming from the field. Pass complete underneath to Jackson, nowhere to go. It'll be 4th down. The Hurricanes defense will get off the field. Fitzgerald again in on his 2nd tackle on that gain of 2. Chase Smith there to accompany him.
Well, they bring a ton of pressure. Going to get the linebacker blitzing, Ruben Bain off the edge, and then Jacoby Thomas, the safety, is going to come inside of the defensive end. It forces C.J. Bailey off his spot. He actually does a really good job to get that ball away, but the Miami defense rallies. Bryce Fitzgerald, who's in there for Keontae Scott, as you said, the excellent nickel, does a really nice job of making the tackle.
And that freshman right there is one of the most magisterial players in all of college football. Very prolific as well. He watches the high spiral punt come down at the 9-yard line, and Malachi Toney will take his place as a key cog in that Hurricane offense. Under the direction of quarterback Carson Beck, who on the season is completing 72% of his passes. Has had a couple bumps in the road this year, most notably that 4 interception game here at home against Louisville. But there's a look at the numbers last week. A good week against Syracuse in that victory.
It was, and all in all, the last 2 games that they've played against SMU and Syracuse, Carson Beck has played pretty well. 2 interceptions in that SMU game. One of them wasn't on him. It was on a tipped ball by JoJo Trader, and then the second one, a miscommunication in overtime with Malachi Toney. But all in all, he's played pretty well.
Pringle getting the start at tailback, number 22. Beck looking to pass. Complete to Pringle. He's got some real estate and made a nice move out to the 28-yard line. The freshman from Tampa brought down by Johnson.
That's what Carson Beck has been really good at is going through his possessions quickly and giving the ball to his running backs on the check down with a lot of space to work. If you can get to that check down early, it gives your running back an opportunity with the defensive backs not quite able to rally to make people miss, and Girard Pringle definitely brings that aspect.
On 1st and 10, Pringle again. Got about 5. Sloan makes the tackle on the play. Take another look at our Chili's 3 impact players.
It's going to be Malachi Toney and Girard Pringle, 2 true freshmen starting for this Miami offense. They're the 2 playmakers. And then Caden Fordham, the ACC's leading tackler at linebacker for NC State.
A quick pass complete to Keelan Marion, one of the seniors walking a little bit earlier today. 24 players walking in all. Marion has come on the last couple of weeks for the Hurricanes offensively. Ronnie, I want to ask you, how important is a quick start to Miami? There's been a lot of talk about that.
Yeah, I think it is important. I think more for Miami, it's about what Shannon Dawson told us about, playing free, playing loose. It's something that this Miami offense hasn't really done. They've been pressing, it feels like, almost squeezing too hard to try and have success. And certainly against a potent NC State offense, you'd like a quick start. This 3rd down would be a big part of that.
3rd and 1. Beck hands it off. They'll pick up the 1st down. Marty Brown doing the honors. Got about 4.5, almost 5. Sebastian Harsh makes the tackle on the 6-yard gain for the Hurricanes, who moved the chains.
It was a really good push by that Miami offensive line. But Mark, you made a really good point earlier, or a really good word that you use, magisterial.
Oh boy.
Having or showing great authority. I would say that offensive line on that last play a bit magisterial.
Very much so. Very much so.
Have to add that one to the vocab.
That's that Georgia Tech thing you got, man.
I just read the dictionary. You use the words.
1st down and 10. On the flea flicker, pass was bobbled, lost, and that's going to be ruled incomplete. Intended for Lofton. So Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, last week we saw 2 really cute plays, gimmick plays. One, a Toney throw to Carson Beck for a touchdown, and the other one was a touchdown to Cece Mawinoga.
Yeah,
the offensive lineman.
When you get a 335-pounder scoring a touchdown up 31-3, that gets everyone excited. But Shannon Dawson talked to us about the fact that his team had earned the opportunity to run those plays, and those plays are fun. They make football fun again, and sometimes we forget that this is just a game.
Beck hands it off to Pringle, who's back in, and Pringle got about 4, close to 5. Assad Brown Jr. making the tackle for North Carolina State. This North Carolina State defense of Coach Doran's is very well infirmed, I'll say right now. They're missing a lot of guys due to injuries.
Especially in that secondary. They have been banged up all year long, but their best player, Sean Brown, the linebacker, has missed most of the season. And that's what's led to them being the worst 3rd down defense in the ACC. They could use a big stop here.
6 to go for the Hurricanes. Beck got some air under the ball. Marion. And it's caught downfield. Got in behind Jamel Johnson, and you have to love the touch on that pass by Beck. 1st down.
That pass game has not been as explosive as it was early in the season here late, but you can't throw the ball any better than that. Right on the tick marks next to the sideline in the breadbasket of Keelan Marion, who beats Jamel Johnson off the line. Single high, 1 safety in the middle of the field, man coverage on the outside. It's those types of one-on-ones that Miami has to be able to win if NC State's going to dedicate that much to the run game.
1st and 10 from the 18. Pringle again. Getting the call early and frequently. Picked up about 4 on the play, and after that last Marion call, playmaker down there on the sidelines. Went to school down in Coral Gables, just down I-95 on US 1 as well. Michael Irvin, a big presence on the sidelines for the Hurricanes, tutoring some of those young receivers. On 2nd and 6. Beck peruses the defense, couldn't get it out, and he's sacked back at the 21-yard line. The ball came out, but was he down first? We're going to say he was down.
It's third down.
Chase Bond making the sack on the play.
The pressure's going to come from that right side. Chase Bond just keeps working against the future first rounder and CC Maui Noah. They're going to say he was down, but an excellent job of just continuing to work. Your Carson Beck, that internal timer, that clock in your head has to go off. Throw the ball out of the back of the end zone and don't take the sack. But NC State with a big play on second down to force this 3rd and long.
Got to get to the 8-yard line to move the chains. And Miami is going to burn one of its 3 timeouts.
Timeout. Miami.
Been a quiet first quarter for Malachi Toney so far. Back after this. Did I say Hall of Famers? Hall of Famers. Yes. And there's one on the sidelines. Michael Irvin went to high school just across I-595 East at St. Thomas. Rohan Marley on hand this afternoon as well. 3rd down coming up, the 10th play of the drive. Beck looking to pull, checks it down, complete to the tight end at the 13. That's Bauman. But that's going to be about 4 or 5 yards shy of the first down. So 4th down coming up. And in comes the field goal unit after the gain of 8.
It's a really good job by NC State defensively of not only getting a little pressure on Carson Beck, but covering everybody downfield in zone coverage. And this is where they had success against Georgia Tech in that second half, forcing Georgia Tech to get field goals while their offense scored touchdowns in that shootout. So a big win for NC State's defense, forcing the field goal attempt.
Roddy Carter-Davis in to attempt this field goal from 31. He's 9 of 10 on the season. That one light work for Carter-Davis as the Hurricanes take a 3-0 lead. Using up a little over 7.5 minutes on the clock. CJ saw pictures of my former neighbor Luke Campbell there, Trick Daddy. And Rick Ross is actually from Carroll City right here in the Hard Rock Stadium area.
Did you have one of the boom boxes?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Old JVC. It took about 12 batteries. They went dead after a week. Bailey going to try and put a charge in that Wolfpack offense, Q.
You think about how hip-hop is intertwined with the history of Miami football, the 80s and early 90s, whether it was 2 Live Crew, as you mentioned, Uncle Luke. The outlaw image coincided with the Canes' glory days. Trick Daddy, the mayor, take it to the house. Take it to the house. That's your song, Mark. Rick Ross and Solo D. Undeniable influence hip-hop culture this Miami team had on hip-hop, and hip-hop had on Miami.
Great point, Q. You remember Luke Campbell used to wear University of Miami jackets and merchandise in all of his videos. On the run into the boundary, Hollywood Smothers gets his first touch of the football game coming off of an injury. He's their leading rusher coming into this game, brought down by Thomas after the 4-yard gain. How important is he to their attack?
He's huge to this attack because of his explosiveness. Duke Scott did an admirable job in the last game against Georgia Tech, 24 carries for 196 yards, but the combination of Smothers and Scott are going to make this run game, could make this run game really potent.
2nd down and 6. Bailey got rid of it, incomplete at the 35 for Jolie. And it sets up a 3rd down now for the Hurricanes defensively. And NC State looking to stay on the field here. 6:36 to go in the opening quarter.
The big question for me during this game is going to be, how does CJ Bailey deal with the pressure? Miami has shown that they're going to blitz him. That was Damari Brown, the corner, on a corner blitz off of the tight end to the boundary. Will they be able to block Miami up front? Ruben Bain and Akeem Mesidor, this is where they go and hunt.
They're going to blow this play dead first.
False start. Offense, number 54. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
So move it back a little bit. That penalty against the Wolfpack.
Please reset the game clock.
Setting up 3rd down and 11 now.
Please.
And now if you're Kurt Roper, the offensive coordinator for NC State, it's as much protecting the football and protecting your quarterback in this situation. CJ Bailey can't press, trying to force something on a 3rd and long. Most important thing is to end this with a kick.
He uses his legs pretty well too. Gets it out quickly on the tunnel screen. Jackson. Incomplete, and 4th down coming up.
Kurt Roper wisely dials up a little screen pass to try and eliminate some of the pressure, but it's a really nice play in the secondary by Xavier Lucas, the transfer from Wisconsin, who's playing in the slot. Just kind of tripped up Keenan Jackson as he was trying to get inside for that tunnel screen.
Kotaczynski into punt from his own 10. Toney back deep. Watches it bounce at the 37. It'll be spotted out of bounds at about the 31. 1st down and 10. Girard Pringle, number 22, the freshman, getting the start at tailback. Trader in motion. And Pringle takes it up the middle. A nice gain of close to 8 yards. The 2nd down and short.
Well, this is such a good cut by Girard Pringle. Watch the little hesitation in the hole just to let the blocks develop. It's that little hesitation that lets the linebacker, excuse me, the defensive end get washed across the formation and him get up the field. It's a nice job by Elijah Lofton of getting there, but that's why they like Girard Pringle, his patience, his feet, and his explosion.
Mark Fletcher injured, not playing again. Beck unloads it downfield, trying to hit Toney, but he overshot him. It's incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 2 now. Malachi Toney with his first target of the football game. Interesting what the coaches had to say about the extra attention he's been garnering, Roddy.
Yeah, look, the safety's got his eyes on him. The nickel's got his eyes on him. He actually outruns both of them, and I don't hate the throw by Carson Beck. There's a ton of room out there, and he was under pressure. Just put it in that open space and see if Toney can get there. He couldn't, but I like the shot by Carson Beck. Now it brings up a big 3rd down.
They go empty formation. 5 receivers in on this play. Beck gets it out. Complete to Marion at the 45. That'll be a 1st down. Keelan Marion, the BYU transfer. He's really emerged in the last couple of weeks.
Certainly has. CJ Daniels has been out, so it's left a bit of a vacuum for that go-to guy on the outside. Keelan Marion's done a nice job of filling that. Had over 100 yards, 116 and a touchdown last week against Syracuse. And then against SMU was a big target on 3rd downs, a place that CJ Daniels really was big for this Miami offense.
On the reverse, they get it to Toney. Finally gets a touch out to the 48-yard line. Soares bringing him down on the gain of 3 yards. Well, coming up at 7:30 Eastern on ABC and all new ESPN app. The final game of the triple header, Arch Manning and number 10 Texas squaring off against Gunnar Stockton and number 5 Georgia. Malachi Toney picking up 3 yards. There's a look at some of the cogent numbers.
That's, if you're a Miami fan and you want to climb the rankings, that is that's one where you're rooting for the University of Georgia to knock off Texas.
Out of the backfield, big hit, ball came out. It's recovered by NC State. Marty Brown got drilled by Marshall. We got a flag down on the play, though. See if this stands or not.
I think it was a. I think it was
okay.
a
There
face.
is no
I think it
foul
was
on the
actually.
play. The ruling in the field is a catch and a fumble recovered by the defense. 1st down.
Wow.
There was a mouthpiece that flew off that looked like a flag.
Yeah, it did look like it from our vantage point. But Devin Marshall, I mean, he smoked Marty Brown like a black and mild here.
So Marty Brown's going to run a little bubble route here, and Marshall's going to sink back but have nothing to keep him and then drive on the football. But the eyes of Devon Marshall, as he sees that ball being thrown, the break is really, really good. Plants his foot in the ground, accelerates, and has a nice hit on what is a defenseless receiver. Goes right to that football. The question is, did he have possession long enough to make an act, a move common to the game? Did he have possession long enough for it to be considered a fumble?
Well, we have our rules analyst, Jerry McGinn. Jerry, what are some of the variables that are being checked on right now?
Well, they're looking at the control factor of the ball and whether the offensive player had an opportunity to make a football move. And from everything that we're seeing, he did. He caught the ball. He has control of it. He makes a move. Defense comes in, does a nice job of hitting the ball out. This call should be upheld.
I agree with you, Jerry. And it's important, Mark. Miami has not lost a fumble at all this season. They fumbled the ball 3 times, have recovered all of them. This would be their first lost fumble. We are bad luck because last week we had Virginia, who had not fumbled the ball all year long. They had 3.
The ruling on the field is upheld. First down.
Caden Fordham recovered the loose ball. The call is upheld, and Coach Doran's team will take over. First down and 10, just from their side of midfield. As my partner just mentioned, that's Miami's first lost fumble of the season. What do you think about NC State taking a shot here?
They mentioned to us that they needed some big plays. They needed to be explosive. You don't want to do it recklessly, but if you can find a matchup, I absolutely would love to see C.J. Bailey air it out here down the field.
Off the turnover. First and 10. They're going to keep it on the ground. Nowhere to go that time for Hollywood Smothers. Messidor making the tackle. Loss of 1 on the play. Mario Cristobal was effusive in his praise for Messidor, talking about how much he's meant to the program and his energy, helping generate intrinsic energy, not for the defense only, but for the entire program and his leadership as well. Second and 11. Bailey picked off in stride. Coming back the other way, Jacoby Thomas looked at his wrist, said, I got time today. Jacoby Thomas with the pick 6. 3rd of the season. Took it back 60 yards, Roddy.
Talk about reading the quarterback's eyes. You're going to get a really skinny post and then a rail route up the sideline. And Jacoby Thomas, the safety, is going to be right here. He's going to play this deep 3rd. And when he sees C.J. Bailey look outside of the quarterback blitz, he's going to drive on the football. C.J. Bailey leaves it probably a little too much inside, but it's a great drive on the ball by Jacoby Thomas, who already has created pressure. That time the safety gets the pick 6, finishes in the end zone physically. And in the absence of Keontae Scott, he's moved to that nickel position a couple of times and performed well there, but that time as a deep 3rd safety as they rolled that to cover 3 with the corner blitz, he makes the pick and finishes with points.
Well, you talk about a next man up mentality, Roddy. Without Keontae Scott in there today, Fitzgerald, the freshman, getting the start, some shifts in that secondary, and it all worked out in that last sequence for the Hurricanes, who lead 10-0. Thomas almost looked like he had a little message for Bailey at the end of that run, too.
Anytime you get a chance to get a hit on the quarterback, you do it.
Let's check in with the studio. Well, we were at Virginia last week, and they suffered their first conference loss. Let's see how Bailey responds after throwing that pick 6. Smothers with nowhere to go, literally smothered on the play by Popo. Q.
CJ Bailey walked off the field frustrated but not unnerved. Sat down on the bench just for a beat, and then the quarterback coach came over. They were discussing coverages. As he's walking back towards the field, Dave Doran, head coach, comes over to CJ and gives him a big hug. Right now the pressure is on CJ.
Coach Doran says if they were all wired like CJ, this would be a fantastic job all the time. That pass is caught for the first down by Terrell Anderson, their leading receiver. He's working against O'Connor.
And if you're CJ Bailey, the worst has happened. You've thrown the pick six. Now just go out and play as we get a replay of that last catch. Nice job by Terrell Anderson of securing it.
That was tipped too.
Despite the tip, I know. Great concentration.
First down and 10, about 2.5 minutes to go in the opening quarter from the 38-yard line. There's a look at Anderson. Bailey hands it off to Duke Scott, who has been almost found money in the absence of Smothers. Did a nice job on that run. Picked up 6 on the play.
I like the compliment that Duke Scott will bring to Hollywood Smothers. Duke Scott listed at 5'10", 215. Tell you what, though, those legs look like they're 230-pound legs. He is a thick-built running back with physicality to go with it.
Every day's a leg day for him, it looks like.
Every day.
Under 2 minutes to go in the quarter. Bailey gets it out complete at midfield. That pass to Teddy Hoffman picked up 7. And Bailey seems like he's in a little bit of a rhythm here after those last 2 completions.
And they've given him some timing rhythm throws, easy pre-snap reads where, hey, if the guy's playing off, go ahead and throw it out there. And I think it'll help CJ Bailey settle down more into this game. Also, the confidence of your offensive coordinator and your head coach on the sideline before you go back out there helps as well.
Boy, look at the size of Bailey. Gets it downfield, incomplete at the 30. Knocked loose at the last moment defensively by Poyser. Was intended for Hoffman again. Sets up a 2nd down and 10.
This is caused by Akeem Mesidor, who just penetrates from the left side. I mean, CJ Bailey's going to be able to step into this throw and hit Hoffman in stride likely if he doesn't have that pressure kind of at his feet, fading away, and that ball just sort of drifts on him, and Poyser's able to get there and knock it out.
2nd and 10. Bailey, the angular quarterback, throws another pick at the 37. Jacoby Thomas says, "Do you remember me?" Again. His 2nd pick.
Well, Jacoby Thomas is going to be sitting right here in the middle. That's the referee, but Jacoby Thomas is right next to him. And it looks like it's cover 3. He's going to be a deep middle safety. They actually rolled a 2, drop guys back, and Thomas sits in that hole in the middle of the field. And because of the pressure, once again, CJ Bailey doesn't have time to see him, throws it blind almost, and Jacoby Thomas is having himself a day.
He is putting money on tape today, and conversely for Bailey, question begs, with this being his homecoming, he grew up in the area, is he a little overhyped? 1st and 10. You're going to keep it on the ground. Lofton on the carry. Picked up 4 on the play.
You know, Mark, I think that he might be hyped up about playing here. I think the bigger thing is he's got so much trash around his feet when he's in the pocket.
Okay.
I think it has sped up his clock a little bit. And we've seen this before from CJ Bailey this year. Had 3 interceptions against Notre Dame in a similar setting where he was under pressure consistently. Had 3 interceptions against Duke earlier this year, whose defensive line gave them trouble as well. I think it's the pressure that's causing this more than the environment.
Here's Pringle. Sets up a 3rd down and about 3 to go. Great point you make, Roddy. When you say trash around his feet, you don't mean that in a literal sense. You're talking about those defensive ends.
I'm talking about defensive ends. It doesn't matter if it's defensive ends, if it's offensive linemen. It makes it so you can't step into your throw and throw it downfield. He's feeling the presence of people around him and trying to drift in the pocket and get away from it while he's throwing these passes.
We have an injured player down on the field for North Carolina State. That's Jamel Johnson, their starting cornerback. With 21 seconds to go here in the opening quarter. Miami leading 10-0. NC State's defense, we alluded to it a little bit ago, they're missing a bunch of people already coming into this game. And that's one of their starters right now, slow to get up and being tended to by the athletic training staff.
And they have had a rotating cast in the secondary. Ronnie Royal has missed time. We were expecting to see him back today, but I'm not sure he's been out there yet. J.J. Johnson as well. Those are two of their starting safeties. Jason Vick, the nickel, has missed time over the course of the season. Brody Barnhart is out for this game. He's missed a significant chunk of the year. It has been kind of a rotating cast in the secondary for NC State, and this injury to Jamel Johnson.
Coach telling us that 9 of his top 22 were out of service at one point this week.
Oh no.
Sure. Hey man, it's Saturday in Miami. I mean, yeah, shirts off.
But in the stadium, I got a lot of questions about the confidence of these young men.
Hey man, if you've been doing your core work, you're okay.
Some of them haven't been doing the core work though, Mark. And you know, I'm not sure I wanted to hang out with a bunch of guys with their shirt off at a football game if I went as a spectator.
In Miami, there's a strip mall clinic you can go get some abs. Okay,
paint those things.
They
off.
hook you up for $99.99. Third down and 2. And we talked about the bigger picture. And Miami got a break last night, Roddy, when Clemson defeated Louisville, right?
Yeah. It helps clear up the path for them slightly. It's still very muddy, but the less teams that you can be tied with.
A moment ago. 3rd and 2. Toney in motion, now sets. Beck pulls, incomplete at the 43, intended for Moore. Here's what Coach Cristobal had to say a moment ago about the defensive pressure so far.
I mean, anytime you could affect them and hurry a decision or whatnot or make them throw off balance, it is effective, but that's a great quarterback that can throw off balance, that can extend plays. So got a lot of football to play. He's made some great plays. We got to stay on this.
Thank you, Coach.
What do you make of that, Roddy?
Yeah, he's seen the effect that it can have on C.J. Bailey so far. If I'm NC State, the big question that they're trying to figure out is how do you get away from that pressure, because the offensive line has struggled a bit.
Joyce's punt comes down at the 9-yard line to Terrell Anderson, where it'll be 1st down and 10 from there for Wolfpack offense. Hey, this week on Sunday NFL Countdown, NFC Showdowns, live reports and analysis from Lions, Eagles, Seahawks, Rams, plus Jeremy Schaap tells the origin story of Buffalo's table-smashing tradition. And Oz the Mentalist goes inside the minds of the Rams. Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. Well, what does C.J. Bailey do now? A couple of interceptions already in this game as we start this second quarter. Not the type of auspicious homecoming he might have had in mind. They get him an easy throw to Smothers, complete. And Smothers going to be brought down at about the 16-yard line. Picked up 6 on the play.
The other thing that NC State's going to have to do at some point, Mark, is be able to run the football with some consistency. That is the biggest thing. That'll take pressure off a young quarterback.
Nowhere to go that time. Didn't run it well that time as Smothers hit immediately. Q?
Roddy, I think it's going to be interesting how NC State operates now. Kurt Roper, their offensive coordinator. You think back to 2 weeks ago when we were at SMU. SMU, a lot of quick game, a lot of moving of the pocket. Is that what NC State needs to do right now? Get that ball out quick or move the quarterback out of the pocket?
So they tried to, on that 1st down, move him out of the pocket, and they've shown some quick game. The issue is when it's been incomplete, it puts you in 2nd and 10, and quick game not nearly as effective on something like a 3rd and 6 like they've got here.
Bailey completes it at the 15, but short of the 1st down. Caught by Scott. The Saint making the stop.
And it's Kurt Roper, the offensive coordinator, and to your point, Q, I think he's trying to figure just that out. How do we incorporate some of those short throws that are high percentage that'll get us into second and medium, third and short? How do we get C.J. Bailey out of the pocket like they did on that first play? But there was even pressure in his face on that one as well. It's just been a riddle against the Miami front that has been really active all year long, but especially today.
Noonkester with his third punt of the afternoon from his 5. Toney watches it bounce at the 47-yard line, fields it, and is brought down immediately at his own 47-yard line, where it'll be first down and 10. All right, thanks a lot, Matt. First and 10 for the Hurricanes and Carson Beck. Marty Brown in the backfield from NC State's 48. Toney, he's a former high school quarterback. There's the evidence, complete. Trader all the way inside the 5. Malachi Toney does it again, this time as a passer. First and goal, Miami.
Well, JoJo Trader is going to come around, and I'm sorry, that's Malachi Toney, and JoJo Trader is just going to sneak up the sideline from that slot position. He's going to make it look like he's blocking, and then he's going to release up the field. Nice job of selling it. And how about the throw by Malachi Toney? We saw him throw an absolute dart on a 2-point conversion to C.J. Daniels earlier this year.
Shannon Dawson with another trick play between the tackles. Nothing tricky about that one. Marty Brown close to the goal line. They're going to mark it about a foot short. It'll be second down and 10. Brown, the bigger of the two backs, he and Pringle.
He got pretty close there. Oh, I think he might have been in.
Hey.
We can't see the knees from there, but let's check out the ref cam. Knees have not hit. These there. Yeah, the knee hits before the extension of the football, so probably a good call to call him a little bit short.
They line up out of the eye this time. Brown, the deep back. He gets the call again. And second effort. Caroms him into the end zone. Touchdown, Miami. No Mark Fletcher again this week in the backfield. No problem for the Miami Hurricanes. As Brown and Pringle doing an admirable job already. The extra point good, and it's a 17-0 lead.
You know, Miami's had a tough time creating big plays, conventionally explosive. Those teams who continue to move up in the college football playoff rankings.
Kickoff will go out the back of the end zone. I want to ask you about one thing, though. Like, tell me about this scenario now where you see it's better not to be in the conference championship game, but still make the college football playoff, right?
So it depends on the team. I would say in Miami's case, it is more likely that they will make the college football playoff without making the ACC championship game, as there's just so many teams ahead of them.
Right.
5 teams with 1 loss. Now, 2 of those sets of teams play each other, so 3 teams have a maximum of 3 teams can end with 1 loss, but it gets really complicated if you end up with a bunch of teams and 2 losses with tiebreakers. So Miami's path is most likely to make the college football playoff without making the ACC championship game.
Well, they're handling their business today, leading 17-0, just underway here in the second quarter. Mark Jones, Roddy Jones, Quint Kesnick down to the field here in Carroll City, Florida. Bailey out of the backfield hits Hollywood Smothers, and he is met by a group of Hurricane tacklers. Well, speaking of Miami, you can't spell the U without, well, urgency, right? Yeah. Urgency without the U? Something along those lines. They're playing with it so far. They
are. You've seen the defense especially really getting after C.J. Bailey. 2 interceptions already. One of those returned for a touchdown. And they have to play with that urgency and probably a little style points if they're able to get them for the rest of the season.
There's that receiver screen they like to run. The pass complete to Teddy Hoffman. Not much yards after catch. Picked up a yard on the play, setting up a 3rd down for Bailey, who went to high school at Chaminade Madonna, right there at the corner of 52nd Avenue and Polk Street, up the highway in Hollywood, Florida. JoJo Trader was one of his teammates there, as was a guy named Jeremiah Smith, who's doing some things at Ohio State.
Pretty good players to play with.
Bailey looking for his rhythm. And that looks like it's going to be out of bounds. Joe Lee couldn't keep his feet in bounds after making the catch. Ran out of real estate on the sidelines.
And it's really on C.J. Bailey, who doesn't keep the ball in bounds and leads Joe Lee out. But I think that was caused by Jacoby Thomas once again, who's got his eyes on the quarterback, was sort of spying him from his safety position. And as C.J. Bailey rolled out, he forced a very narrow lane for that throw to be in, and C.J. Bailey was wide of it.
Lancaster punting from his own 13. Malachi Toney perched at his own 32 for Miami. A couple of weeks ago against Stanford, his punt returns catalyzed a comeback. Calls for the fair catch there at the 23. Some of the scenes here from That's not a score that Miami wants to see, right, Rodney?
If you're a Miami fan, you want Oklahoma to go to 3 losses out of this game to try and drop you below or drop them below where Miami is. That is not great for the University of Miami.
Carson Beck down the sideline, back shoulder fade complete to Joshua Moore. 6'4" target out of West Broward High School.
How about this throw? Carson Beck's thrown the ball down the field well a couple of times today, and Joshua Moore, a really talented freshman, big target on the outside.
24-yard gain. Beck incomplete, in and out of the hands of Elijah Lofton, the tight end. It was interesting in listening to Beck's comments earlier this week with respect to the college football playoffs. When somebody told him that Miami was number 15, he was like, oh, really? I didn't know that. He had to go around and ask if that was really true or not. But his nonchalance proves a point that he's right where his feet need to be. He's staying present, not thinking ahead. Upshot motion. This is Pringle making his first start. Hey, Roddy, you played the position at Georgia Tech, running back, right? Pringle goes from scout team player of the week to the player of the week in the game last week. How rare is that?
I would say extremely rare. I mean, but that's what happens when you get in the game and you have the impact that he had. 7 rushes for 55 yards. But honestly, as a guy who was on scout team for a full year, it's that work that you put in every single day on scout team. That's where you get your reps, and you're getting it against the first team defense. So you can get some really good game type reps out of scout team if you take it seriously.
Beck looking for Toney, fires high, incomplete. And it sets up a 4th down and 5. And they're in a part of the field that where sometimes you might be tempted to go for it. Instead, they defer.
Yeah, I like
the punt team.
I like sending the punt team out. Your defense has been playing lights out. You've already intercepted C.J. Bailey twice. Pin him back deep and see if you can get another one out of it by pressuring the quarterback. And with NC State's futility offensively, you'll probably get great field position out of it as well if the trend continues.
Second punt of the day for Dylan Joyce. Terrell Anderson standing on his own 10-yard line for NC State. A whistle and a flag. Still waiting for the
Delay
call.
game. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 4th down.
We kind of touched on the penalty thing with Miami a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Or did we?
That one was intentional, though.
Okay.
I mean, they're trying to give their
right.
their punter a little more room. But they have been issues. They've avoided them largely. We thought they were going to have one of them earlier in the game at offsides, but ended up being called on NC State after one of their guys moved.
Wolfpack came after the punt. A high end-over-end punt will be fielded cleanly by Anderson back at the 8-yard line, where it'll be 1st and 10 for NC State. Now a quick word from Verbo.
As your host, I have some rules. First, no showers longer than 5 minutes. This isn't a spa. That's the rule.
Meanwhile, at a Verbo, get the vacation you expect and never a hovering host.
Well, the angular and agile and lithe quarterback C.J. Bailey at 6'7", trying to get his team downfield and into scoring range here with a little over 8.5 minutes to go in the opening half. It's been a tough day offensively for him throwing the football. He's got Smothers beside him. Completes it underneath. That's Hardy. Now C.J. Bailey at 6'7" would stack up pretty favorably against some of the taller quarterbacks in the NFL, Roddy.
He would. We've seen guys over 6'6" in the NFL before, but not a ton of them had success. The thing that I think makes C.J. Bailey different, potentially, if he continues to develop, is he is much more twitchy than what you typically see out of a 6'7" athlete. Light on his feet, can move, and he's got a really twitchy throwing motion.
Well, he got it out quickly there and completes the pass to Anderson.
CJ told me this week his biggest upgrade this year is his ability to read defenses. He's starting to look at the game more from a defensive mindset. Keep in mind, he's only 19 years old. Mark, as you said, he's grown from 6'6" to nearly 6'7", and his weight since he's gotten on campus, plus 28 pounds in 24 months. That's a pound a month. Hit the weight room, CJ Bailey.
Wow. Gaining a pound a month, he could become a member of the media. Lunging for the first down. Did he get it? Let's see where they spot this football. It is right at that approximation. And it looks like he's going to get the first down.
He needed all of 6'7" on that dive to be able to get the first down. How about the magic to escape from the pocket? You know, kind of puts the ball down by his hip behind his back. Jacoby Thomas coming downhill, and C.J. Bailey just dives past him and barely gets that first down.
From our ref cam. Boy, Smothers having a tough time running the football. Justin Scott just in time, just in the right place for the Hurricanes. A loss of 3.
This is what's really caused issues for NC State. It's penetration and disruption by this Miami defensive line. And it's really been throughout. We've seen Akeem Mesidor get in the backfield. Ruben Bain has had his usual impact. But that time it's Justin Scott. As they're a little thin in that defensive tackle position. David Blay, one of their starting tackles, out for this game. But Justin Scott, the highly, highly touted sophomore, making a play.
Second and 13. Out of the backfield, complete to Duke Scott. Made a couple of nice moves and some strong, impassioned running. Picks up more yards. These two guys are two players at the top of the offensive line scouting report, right?
They certainly are. And NFL draft boards as well, according to our Mel Kiper. The meteoric rise for Akeem Mesidor this year, though. A guy who a few years ago had an ACL injury. Last year, it took him a little bit to get going. Putting in the work in the offseason has led to a year that will likely have his name called extremely highly. He's actually lined up on the inside, right there, defensive tackle, with Ruben Bain on the outside, on the other side.
Bailey going to be tackled out by the 27. Well, you know, it's nice to have the luxury of being coached by one of the greats, too. Jason Taylor working with Ruben Bain Jr. and Akeem Mesidor pregame on some of their moves.
And getting a little love from the family.
Jason was a coach at St. Thomas Aquinas. Due What, east of here on 595 and north in Fort Lauderdale? Now a defensive line coach having a lot of success with those guys up front.
Timeout. Miami. They're second. 30 seconds.
Get a timeout on the field.
You know, Mark, there's 4 minutes, 36 seconds left in the first half. It's 4th and 1. You're backed up. Down 17. I mean, if I'm Dave Doran, I'm kind of thinking about going for it here. I know that if you don't make it, Miami is in scoring range. You likely could get blown out of this thing. But you're already down 17-0. You know, I feel like if you want to get back in this game, you're going to need a score before halftime. Your defense has played pretty well, but this might be an opportunity where you think about leaving the offense on the field, although they're sending out the punt unit.
Q?
Well, they did make some changes in personnel, NC State. And one thing you'll see from Miami is they're in punt safe. This is their starting defense, -1. Malachi Toney as the return man. So Miami very much in punt safe, sitting on the fake.
Tony's going to watch it bounce at the 41. And it'll be 1st and 10 from there for the Hurricanes. Well, for 20 years, Allstate has celebrated every field goal and extra point made at participating universities by donating to the university's athletic scholarship fund, supporting all student athletes. Thank you, Allstate. As Hurricanes will take over. 1st down and 10.
Hasn't exactly been smooth sailing today for Miami. They had the fumble, they punted twice. The offense is only, when they got the field goal on the first drive, only scored 1 touchdown, and that was on a short field after a trick play. I think Mario Cristobal would love for his offense to go on a nice methodical drive or an explosive one and end up with points.
Marty Brown in the backfield. Nice burst out beyond the 40 to the 41. Soares and Fordham making the tackle on that 7-yard pickup. And the thing about NC State is that, you know, Miami's a big time of possession team.
Big.
You won't have that many opportunities, right?
No, and your defense is the worst statistically in the conference on 3rd downs. Third worst in total yardage allowed.
There's Brown again trying to get to the edge. Great spin move. Pushed out of bounds on NC State's side of midfield. Marty Brown spinning like a DJ out there. Great footwork on the 8-yard pickup.
Spinning like Q in the hip hop museum. Putting the foot in the ground. Going spin cycle. Gotta love that. Out of a 220-pound back. Looking very nifty.
Brown between the tackles again. And this has been pretty much the signature of this Miami offense so far this season. Roll up your sleeves, smash ball between the tackles, whether it's Fletcher or Brown.
Well, it's a really big offensive line that Shannon Dawson, the offensive coordinator, has. And it's one that Mario Cristobal takes great pride in. I mean, Alex Mirabal do an excellent job coaching these guys up. And Mark, the semifinalists for the Joe Moore Award, best offensive line in the country, were announced. Miami was not on that list amongst the final 8. You have to think that would have been noticed by the 5 up front for Miami.
Something to prove perhaps this afternoon. Complete to Keelan Marion. Great move down the sidelines. Oh, he hit him with some sauce and picked up about 7 more. He shook Assad Brown Jr.
I think this is what kind of sauce they have down here in Miami?
I don't know, but he put him on his knees like pregame chapel.
Some caliente salsa pregame chapel.
That was a move. 1st down and 10. You talked about it. A methodical drive perhaps to end the half for the Hurricanes as we hit the 2-minute timeout.
Oh, what a man and what a coach he was. Obviously did a nice job here at the University of Miami, although I grew up with him as the coach at the University of Georgia and competed against those teams all 4 years that I was in college.
1st and 10 for the Hurricanes. Downfield, Beck. Incomplete. Intended for Lofton. As Shannon Dawson goes into his bag again. Little trick play. They tried the flea flicker a little bit earlier. Didn't work.
You know, it's been hard for them to create explosive plays without going to trickery. So Shannon Dawson has continued to go to it.
Does that worry you in the long term?
Certainly. But honestly, Mark, as long as you're creating them, it doesn't really matter. They haven't been great at it all year long. So they're finding ways to create them.
Lofton in motion, then sets. On the little receiver screen, Marion stopped up right away at the 28-yard line. That's where his forward progress will be marked. Price making the tackle for NC State, setting up a 3rd down for the Hurricanes.
Miami going to be content to let the clock run down.
How big is a stop here for NC State?
I think it's very big. I mean, if you're able to force a field goal here, and it'd be a long field goal, I think it's a big win for that defense.
Brown in the backfield, Bauman in motion.
Looks like you're going to get man-to-man coverage, and the guy that they go to in man-to-man is that guy right there, Malachi Toney.
On the receiver screen, Marion got a little space and picked up enough for the 1st down. Toney was a good fake on that.
He certainly was.
11 yards.
And as he sprints out, the corner that's covering him in man-to-man goes out with him. So there's the block, but there's the guy that was covering Malachi Toney. So it clears a lane for Keelan Marion. Really well designed by Shannon Dawson, using the gravity of number 10 to pull out the defender and then slipping a little tunnel screen underneath.
Great decoy. 47 seconds to go in the half. It's Marty Brown, tackled by Caden Fordham. One of the leaders of that NC State defense, leads the ACC in tackles coming into play today, and arguably the most dynamic player right there, Fordham, of that Wolfpack defense. One of the real alphas personality-wise. 37 seconds to go. 2nd and 7 coming up for Miami. Well, here's our Week 11 Monday Night Football matchup. The Cowboys taking on the Raiders, 8 Eastern on ABC, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, and the all-new ESPN app with Peyton and Eli on ESPN2. Coverage kicks off with NFL Live at 3 Eastern in Las Vegas. Then Scott Van Pelt and the Monday Night Countdown crew at 6 Eastern time.
This is a crucial set of plays, I think, for NC State. If Miami's able to get a touchdown here, I mean, then you're going into the locker room down 4 scores, and you don't have 7 years to go to be able to get back in this thing. It's going to be certainly tough. You want to try and keep it to a 3-score game if you can. Force that field goal attempt. They had him in a 3rd and long, but again, this NC State defense, the worst 3rd down defense in the conference this year. A lot of that has to do with the injuries in the secondary.
Well, the good news is it's only 2nd down for them here. Beck into the end zone. Toney has done it again.
Well, Malachi Toney runs a little out and up, but it's the slight pick by Keelan Marion that throws off the defender to give Malachi Toney just a little bit of space against the freshman Tristan Teasdale. And Miami looking dominant here against the Wolfpack today.
Malachi Toney with his 4th touchdown catch of the season. Told you a little bit earlier, back at American Heritage High School, his nickname was Baby Jesus because he came in to save the offense so many times.
That was Malachi Toney's first catch of the game. His impact has certainly been felt, though. He had the long pass down the sideline that was completed. 1 for 1 on the day, passing for 44 yards. 1 catch for 14 yards and a touchdown. So even though he hasn't had the statistical day that as big a statistical day as he has in the past, he's been just as impactful as ever in this one.
Semifinalist for the Sean Alexander Award as the National Freshman of the Year. 24-0. Hurricanes trying to keep their college football playoff hopes alive, having to pretty much win out.
And Mark, the two key plays on that drive. First, Malachi Toney throwing a block for Keelan Marion on that third down, pulling out a defender with him. Marion gets the first down. And then Keelan Marion with a little natural rub on the post and the out and up for Malachi Toney. How about two receivers trading off, helping out their teammate, and Malachi Toney in the middle of all of it?
Remember, folks, he reclassified to go to the University of Miami. Just 18 years old still. 33 seconds to go in the half, and C.J. Bailey will hand it off to Hollywood Smothers. It's been tough sledding up the middle and at the edges for the Wolfpack offensively. Smothers lost his helmet. By rule, he'll have to come out of the football game. Duke Scott will come in for him. It'll be 2nd down and 8 to go. And we'll also have a 10-second runoff by rule.
NC State does have a timeout, so they could take that timeout to avoid the 10-second runoff.
The helmet off of the offensive player gives a 10-second runoff option, which North Carolina State has not elected to take a timeout to avoid. Please reset the game clock to 13 seconds. It'll start on my signal. Thank you.
It's a great explanation by our referee, Justin Scott, and Dave Doran looking for answers, just content to take this thing to the locker room for halftime.
Yeah, despite what's transpired so far here this afternoon, Roddy, he told us earlier that this has been such a fun group of players to coach this series. Really enamored of the player leadership on this team so far this year, and they had that players only meeting after that loss to Pittsburgh, which may have turned their entire season around for the Hurricanes back deep. He was one of the top kickoff return men in the country a season ago for the Cougars at BYU. Here he is on the return, finding a crease, making it out to the 29-yard line, where it'll be 1st down and 10. But hold up a second, there's a flag down on the play.
During the return, holding, return team, number 41. 10-yard penalty, 1st down.
That's going to come back then. Let's take a look at our player spotlight, brought to you by Cintas.
Well, it's been Jacoby Thomas. He's got the pick 6. He was able to take that one to the house, just reading the eyes of the quarterback, C.J. Bailey. And then another interception where he acted like he was going to play the middle of the field. A deep third safety drops into the hole. And what ended up being cover 2 safeties back. He was in that zone in the middle. He's been phenomenal. And Keontae Scott, their excellent nickel, has been out. Jacoby Thomas has made the plays that Keontae Scott has made a lot through this season.
On 1st and 10, they give it to Pringle, who got his first start. Picked up a couple of yards. Let's go down to Q.
It's been a little bit of a homecoming gone awry for C.J. Bailey, NC State's quarterback, 19-year-old sophomore from nearby Miami Gardens. Seeing old friends, guys he played with and against in high school. 9 Miami natives returned for the Wolfpack today, but the first half didn't go his way. 2 interceptions, 1 a pick 6, a first half to forget. Only 2 completions, more than 10 yards, Mark.
They got a half to go still for him. Here's Malachi Toney out to the 29-yard line. He'll pick up a 1st down for the Hurricanes. Fordham making the tackle on the 12-yard pickup. Bailey's numbers non-impactful, right?
Yes, they haven't been able to push the ball down the field, and there's been so much pressure around them that it's forced him into some bad decisions.
Beck unloads it, finds the diminutive but dynamic Toney. There's a flag down on the play, an 11-yard gain if it stands.
Holding. Offense, number 70. 10-yard penalty. First down.
It's going to be on the left tackle, Markel Bell, working against Sebastian Harsh. When Harsh makes that inside move, Markel Bell just grabs him around the breastplate, kind of turns him to give Carson Beck some more time. They've been much better with their process the last couple games, not having the false starts and pre-snap penalties. But Miami with the largest penalty differential between themselves and their opponents over the course of the season this year.
Another great view from our ref cam as Girard Pringle. Some tough sledding between the tackles. Pringle has that explosiveness that they've been desiring for most of the year. Fletcher, a different type of runner, as is Brown. But Pringle is a former track star up in the Tampa area. And Roddy, 10.5 says speed to me in the 100 meters.
Yeah, it's pretty fast. But it's one thing if you're a running back and you're just fast. He's got great feet, patience, and feel as well.
Play clock at 10. Beck fires, has Marion down the sidelines and is brought down immediately at the 44-yard line by Jason Vick, but another first down for Miami.
And this is all on Carson Beck because Sebastian Harsh is going to come off the edge and create the pressure, but there's no pressure up the middle. The middle of that pocket holds firm, so Carson Beck has the ability to scoot up in the pocket and then escape out to his left and find the wide open Keelan Marion.
Marion having himself a day, approaching 100 yards receiving after that 20-yard pickup. Toney in motion. Pringle on the ground. His forward progress will be marked at about the 46. Got 3 before Brandon Cleveland made the tackle on the play.
On that last big play, and let's not forget that after the holding, Miami was first at 20. And those are the types of situations that Miami hasn't consistently been able to get themselves out of. That's why this offense has sputtered at times this year, but NC State defensively not able to force a 3rd and long even. Is Miami able to pick up the first down quickly?
On 2nd and 7, Beck checks it down. Pringle out of the backfield. Couple of great moves. Wonderful feet out to the 40-yard line of NC State. Picked up 13, and he shook Caden Fordham.
This is the different dynamic. This is how dynamic the freshman can be. It's a little dump off, 3-yard pass, but because he makes 2 guys miss, Caden Fordham and then another defender down the field, it creates an explosive play. That's the difference that Girard Pringle, the freshman, can bring. The talented freshman class of this Miami team has been on full display with Malachi Toney and Girard Pringle.
Yeah, starting to pay some dividends. Marty Brown trying to get to the edge. He popped clutch. Great spin move, picks up another first down, a gain of 13. And they move the chains again. Picked up 12 on that carry.
Nobody on NC State sets the edge to force this back in. And once again, Marty Brown in the open field with a little bit of a spin cycle. You go to it once and it worked. Why not go to it again? DJ spinning.
There you go. Taking requests. Brown and Pringle now in the backfield. Beck looking to pass. Downfield, complete. Touchdown, Lofton.
It's an excellent catch down the field by Elijah Lofton. Does he get in the end zone? Knee's not quite down. Knee is down right there. Is that ball across is the question.
It's a rather inconclusive angle.
Yeah, I think that shin is down. From that angle, and this is not right down the line, so it's not going to be clear and obvious. But from that angle, it looks like he's a bit short of the goal line. I don't think from that angle it's enough to overturn. This might tell us more. Let's bring in our rules analyst, Jerry McGinn. Jerry, what do you see?
I tell you, Rowdy, I agree with you. He does appear to be short, just about half a yard line short. The left knee, left shin is coming down prior to him crossing the line, the goal line.
Do you think it's conclusive enough, Jerry? Do you think it's clear and obvious?
I do. They can piece it together, a couple different shots, and bring this back.
Well, Jerry McGinn, our rules analyst, as they take a look at this, but if it stands, it'll be Lofton's first touchdown catch of the season.
Elijah Lofton, they've been really excited about him. Still a young player, he's just a sophomore, but his ability in the pass game, his versatility, honestly, something that they're really excited about for the future. Is needed to clean up some stuff in the run game, and blocking wise, and in the pass game protection wise.
After review, the ruling on the field is upheld. Touchdown.
There was not indisputable evidence to overturn the call on the field. Lofton gets to keep his first touchdown of the season. And Miami increasing its lead to 30. In a must-win game, just like the next two after this one, at Virginia Tech and at Pitt. And a long evening for NC State. Coming off the euphoric win, the upset against Georgia Tech. An 8-play, 85-yard drive using up 5:05 on the clock.
But the Museum of Graffiti, Mark, talks about the sociology of graffiti dating back to like the 1960s in Philly and New York on the subway cars, and takes you through the impact. But that neighborhood, as you well know, Mark, as a resident here, that's a crazy, interesting, artsy neighborhood.
Yeah, Wynwood is what's going up right now. They've kind of taken over from the South Beach scene a little bit in terms of what's cool. Yeah, got a good Jamaican restaurant down there for you guys, if and when we get a little bit of time.
Man, you held out until Saturday night to tell me that.
Under 10 minutes to go. Bailey hands it off to Smothers. Well, Hollywood hasn't had much of a show today for the defense or for Wolfpack fans. He has been bottled up for most of this football game, coming off of an injury, but he came in their leading rusher, hasn't found much success. He's got 7 rushes for -2 yards, Roddy.
This Miami defensive front has really had its way with NC State's offensive line. On offensive line, it's been really good about creating holes in the run game this year.
Bailey, that pass dropped. Intended to Noah Rogers. And quickly it's 3rd down and 10, and a offensive lineman shaken up on the field. That's Kamen Smith for NC State. We're going to take a short break and come right back.
Three teams with 1 loss because Virginia and Duke are playing right now, and Pitt and Georgia Tech play later on this year. Georgia Tech's actually losing to Boston College right now, so that could clear things up just a little bit as well. But tiebreakers are going to come into effect.
Often the product of unbalanced schedules, which we see frequently now. Bailey's pass incomplete, and that sets up a 4th down. So as far as the ACC and in particular Miami are concerned, obviously they're handling business today. Clemson defeating Louisville yesterday helped, and going back to Alabama winning helps them, and Georgia winning helps them today too, right?
So if Alabama and Georgia win, it absolutely would help them. Losses for BYU and Utah would help as well, but they need anybody ahead of them in either the college football playoff rankings in that 9 to 14 range or ahead of them in the ACC standings. They need those teams to lose. That's what they're rooting for.
Just hit Roddy up on social media if you need a personal explanation, folks.
Be careful what you wish for, because how much time you got.
During the kick, holding, receiving team, number 15. 10-yard penalty, first down.
They'll push it back a little bit, and penalties, the bane of Mario Cristobal's existence this year. An area that's garnered a lot of attention in terms of they've had way too frequent penalties called against them. Hasn't been an issue today. They lead 31-0 with 9:04 to go here in the third quarter.
The other thing happening conference-wide, Mark, that sort of clears up some conversation that was going on this week about Duke potentially winning the league. Duke controls its own destiny, could get to the ACC championship if they win out. But being unranked, there was this narrative out that the ACC could get left out because we don't know how they would stack up against the other group of 5 champions. Duke is losing 24-3 right now to Virginia, so it feels like Virginia's got that one under control and eliminates that scenario.
Here's Pringle bursting through that initial wave and picks up 12. Yeah, interesting that you would say that, Roddy, because sometimes the college football playoff gods have things happen that just work themselves out, right?
We get all worked up as soon as the college football playoff rankings come out about things that probably will never happen. And even in that scenario, were it to happen, if Duke were to miraculously come back and then go on to win the ACC, I doubt there'd be 2 group of 5 champions ahead of the Blue Devils.
There's Pringle again, running over that left side of the offensive line. Still on his feet at the 40. Pringle out near midfield, brought down finally at the 48-yard line, but he had a group of protection along the way.
Watch the big fella, Francis Maui-Noah, at 330-plus pounds, moving around the corner to help clear the way for Girard Pringle. We saw him score a touchdown last week. I mean, he is as athletic as you will see at the tackle position in the country. It's why he's going to be likely a top 15 pick. There's a little bit of question on whether or not he's going to be a tackle or an inside guard at the next level, but I think he's athletic enough to stay outside.
Got great feet, as does Pringle, who picked up about 3 on the play. Here's a look at the play. All right, we were talking about actually the games impacting Miami. Notre Dame defeating Pitt today. Miami actually plays Pitt in a couple of weeks to close out the regular season, November 29th at Pitt.
That Oklahoma scoreline is one that Miami fans will look highly upon. Oklahoma at 11 would likely move behind Miami with a loss, which would boost Miami up slightly higher in their college football playoff chase. You're likely looking at needing to get to 10 going into championship week if you don't make the ACC championship game.
Beck completes that pass to Dalen Upshaw. What about Carson Beck? He's been dealing a pretty hot hand of late, piling up some pretty decent numbers.
He's had a nice day today, Mark. 16 of 26 for 217 yards and 2 touchdowns, has protected the football. Shannon Dawson has thrown some trick plays in there to help give this offense a little bit of a turbo boost. Carson Beck's had a nice day.
Completed his last 8 passes in a row. On his heels, escapes and tackled at the 40-yard line by Caden Fordham, leader of that defense for the Wolfpack.
Carson Beck pulls a magic trick to get out of this one, because you ended up with Marty Brown, the running back, on 315-pound Brandon Cleveland, the nose guard. That did not go well for Marty Brown, but Carson Beck was able to maneuver around it and get a positive maybe half-yard-ish.
Got a bit. Under 6 minutes to go in the third. Trader in motion. Pringle around that right side, bursts into the clear and all the way down to the 23-yard line. Marshall finally making the tackle, and Pringle pointing his team in the right direction on that 17-yard gain.
I'm going to highlight Francis Maui-Noah once again. Watch the punch he gets on the defensive end to absolutely cave this thing down. Just slams the defensive end, who ends up over the center, which opens up a lot of room on that right side.
Pringle brought down by his collar that time. No flag. Chaz Wallace making the stop. Gain of about 2 on the play. Yeah, Maui Noa caught that touchdown and ran. He ran what, 5-6 yards on the play last week?
He did, yeah.
But he showed some very good speed and nimble feet
So
for a guy 335.
On Bruce Feldman's freaks list that he puts out every year before the season, Francis Maui Noa has been timed at 18 miles an hour at 335 pounds. It's unbelievable.
Beck in motion. Toney at quarterback. Throws the pass and overshoots Pringle. He had him wide open. He was almost too wide open for Toney. Looking at the heavens. Wants that one back, Roddy.
I mean, Girard Pringle sneaks out, and he's going to be wide open. There's nobody there that takes him. All the eyes are on Malachi Toney. There are acres of space open all the way to the end zone. And Shannon Dawson, he's been dialing him up today. And
he's making it fun, like you said.
That one was probably the most wide open one they've had all day.
Sets up a 3rd down and 9 off the incompletion. Beck over the middle. Redemption, atonement, touchdown, Hurricanes. Looks like we have a flag on the play, though.
Illegal shift. Offense. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Now those are the ones, right, Roddy? Those are the penalties that doesn't come at a crucial time, but something that you always want to have to execute cleanly.
I'm not gonna lie, I don't love that call. Because
illegal shift.
I love it.
Jerry, what do you think, Jerry?
It's very tight, very tight. I can see what he's looking at, but it's very tight to the letter of the law there.
So Jerry, do you think? I mean, it wasn't the player going towards the line of scrimmage. Do you think they didn't get him set long enough before the motion?
Exactly. The bunch up at the top, they all weren't set for a full count. Yeah. It's like maybe 3/4 of a count.
I don't love that, Jerry. And I'm glad you agree with me, because that is very letter of the law in a 31-0 game.
Yeah, Bauman makes the catch.
Yeah, I would agree.
7-yard pickup. Carson Beck. Residual frustration shown on his face there. 4th down and 6. You could almost read Coach Dawson's lips looking at Trader saying you were moving.
Yeah, but I thought they were set long enough before the motion went. I think when they watch that back on film, they're going to feel hard done by that.
Carter Davis looking for his 2nd field goal of the day. Knocks that through from 38, adding to his total earlier from 31. And Miami leads 34-0 on senior day. 24 different players walked today, receiving their spoils.
It's the most shiny prize in the coaching carousel this year.
It must be mid-November, right? It starts up about this time every year. Wolfpack will have it 1st down and 10 from their own 25. Let's go back to the studio.
Why you have to do me like that, Matt Barry?
Talk to me.
I'm just trying to work, trying to stay focused on what's ahead of me. And you got to come up with Georgia Tech being down 2 scores at Chestnut Hill.
Yeah, I don't want to lose my partner right now. Bailey downfield, trying to lose the defense. Couldn't, knocked away at the 40-yard line. Incomplete. Some stellar defensive work by Lucas as it tried to hit Grimes downfield. Sets up 2nd down and 10.
You have to give a lot of credit to this Miami defense, who's been excellent today. Jacoby Thomas on the right, 2 interceptions. They're doing this without Keontae Scott. They're doing it without David Blay. And some places that might be called a little bit of a hold.
Yeah, I would say so.
Probably not against the University of Miami this year, though.
Here's Duke Scott. Brought down almost immediately on the play by Dante Simpson, setting up a 3rd down now with 3.5 minutes to go in the third.
Mark, going back to the injuries on Miami's defense, I mean, they're down 3 starters. Keontae Scott, David Blay, and O.J. Frederico, who was a freshman All-American last year, hasn't played the last few games as well. One point in time, Wesley Basaint was hurt as well. He's played some today. You can see him right there in the middle of your screen, but he missed last week's game. They've maintained their excellence, though.
Coming with a little blitz here. Bailey downfield, underthrown in traffic, flag thrown. Xavier Lucas was there. It was intended for Grimes again.
Pass interference. Defense, number 6. 15-yard penalty. Automatic first down.
That's going to go against Xavier Lucas right there on your screen.
It's good recovery by Xavier Lucas, but at the point of defending the ball, just runs into the wide receiver. He got a little greedy on the jam of Wesley Grimes, though, who was able to beat him off the line of scrimmage. But if he turns around and jumps and makes a play on the football, I don't think he's called for that. But Mario Cristobal has been frustrated, to say the least, with the penalties this year.
They hand it off to Duke Scott. And Scott chopped down right at the 45-yard line by Lucas. Comes right back and makes a nice tackle in the open field. With under 3 minutes to go, a 3-yard pickup on the play. Mario Cristobal, a native of Miami, Florida, grew up within just a few miles of Coral Gables in campus, where he was an offensive lineman for the Hurricanes.
NC State looking for its first play in Miami territory.
Wow, that's amazing. This late in the football game, Bailey directing traffic and tiptoes out of bounds. They're going to spot it at about the 47-yard line. Surprised we haven't seen him try and run a little bit more today, Roddy.
It's not a huge part. The zone read game is not a huge part of this NC State team's offensive approach. Kurt Roper likes his quarterbacks to be passers, but to your point, I am surprised his legs haven't been a bigger weapon on third down in the scramble game. I think you have to give Miami a lot of credit, though, in their ability to collapse the pocket.
Under 2 minutes to go. Third quarter, Bailey. And now he decides to run. There's a flag down. Bailey's still on his feet and pushed out of bounds finally at the 37-yard line by Lightfoot. We'll see if this one stands or not.
Personal foul. Illegal hands to the face. Offense, number 75. 15-yard penalty. Third down. The defensive player may remain in the game.
It's going to happen right in the middle of your screen. You can see that the helmet of Armando Blunt just gets pushed off. And our referee, who's wearing the ref cam, throws the flag. I've thoroughly enjoyed our ref cam shots today.
Great views.
Gives me a little bit of PTSD being in the middle of that scrum, but really cool.
Boisterous crowd here at Hard Rock Stadium in Carroll City, Florida. Some people know it as Miami Gardens.
You can see up from rep cam, you saw from ref cam, Keem Mesidor lined up on one side, Marquise Lightfoot, who's a defensive end, on that same side. Armando Blunt, who's a defensive end, lined up at tackle on the other side with Ruben Bain. 4 defensive ends in the game for Miami to rush the passer.
Got a lot of speed on the field. Here's Bain off the edge, pursuing Bailey, who misfires. Couldn't connect with Duke Scott. And it's 4th and long coming up. They'll have to punt. You saw Ruben Bain in on the quarterback, as he usually is.
And this is a fantastic rush by Ruben Bain, who pushes up the field and then goes under the offensive tackle and almost goes untouched. I mean, Jacarius Peak gets a hand on him barely. Doesn't slow him down at all. C.J. Bailey just has to fade and throw it up, try and get it to his check down. But Ruben Bain showing the quickness.
Noonkester from his 28. Averaging almost 45 yards per punt coming into the game tonight. And Toney makes the fair catch back at the 11-yard line. A 41-yard effort. 1st and 10 for the Hurricanes. With a little over a minute to go here in the third quarter. going to go do a little bit of cruising with Mario. Grew up in Westchester, about 6 miles from campus, Coral Gables. That kind of looks like the beach right there. You know, if you're a coach, if you played offensive lineman and was an assistant coach and then subsequently after that head coach at Miami, you could probably get behind the red velvet rope at any of those lovely establishments on South Beach where you saw his car driving.
I would say so.
Yeah, that's how it works, Roddy.
Especially when you pull up in a whip like that. I don't know if Mario Cristobal can fit in that car, but
hey man, that's Miami.
He is certainly proud to be back home. He is a proud member of the Cuban American community that is so prevalent down here in Miami. Proud.
Yes.
He did an interview with our Quint Kesnick earlier this year in Spanish.
Q was amazing, handling that extremely well.
His Spanish a little bit better than your French, I have to say.
Well, in any language, the Hurricanes have put it on the Wolfpack. Beck with great escape skills, sliding in for the first down. Okay, Carson Beck. What would you say about that in any language, Q?
Mi español este oxidado.
My Spanish is, yeah.
Rusty.
Rusty. Oxidado. From El Barrio, Mario Cristobal. Saw him in that little car. I'll tell you what, the one thing about South Florida, Miami, is they hold up 4 fingers. It is very unique. And the players here that have come here will tell you that. On I-95, you'll have a guy in a rented Lambo doing 140, while North Carolina State, who grew up just a few blocks away from Hard Rock Stadium here now. Starting quarterback for NC State, Malachi Toney on the receiver screen, picks up 2 yards. And that's Carson Beck's 10th consecutive completion. He certainly has found his rhythm. Look at the cogent numbers so far.
Well, the one to pay attention to is the one right down here. NC State 95 yards. Miami has 427. That is unbelievable.
This is a team coming off a win against Georgia Tech and a bye. Didn't expect all of this. Beck downfield, one-on-one coverage. Up for grabs and caught by Joshua Moore. He was working against Brian Nelson. Moore is slow to get up, but he made the catch and hung on, partner.
It's just one-on-one, and Joshua Moore shows the incredible ball skills. Going up and snagging that with the defender's hand in between his arms and the ball. Strong hands, he's able to bring it into his body. Hope he's okay after that hard landing. Yeah. That right arm kind of got pinned next to the defender, Brian Nelson, who's in for the injured Jamel Johnson.
We saw Moore make some plays in that SMU game a couple of weeks ago, being tended to by the athletic trainers. Back after this.
Remember Florida?
You ever been to the Grove?
Oh yeah, pregame and postgame.
Okay.
Treat you real well at the Grove. Saw some of the cheerleading seniors. Got honored today on senior night.
Senior day for them as well. Here's Pringle, looking very spry and energetic here in the 4th quarter. He's gone over 100 yards now. Picked up 15 on that carry. So what do you make of the Miami running game moving forward without Fletcher?
I was just about to say, I'll answer after we get a look at senior day. Ruben Bain, despite being a junior, walking on senior day. We saw CC Mawinoa walk as well on senior day, despite being a junior. When you're a projected top 15 pick, you can walk on senior day. And it was important to Mario Cristobal to honor these guys because Ruben Bain and Francis Mawinoa, 5-star recruits that committed to them when this program was not what it is now. They helped build this place, so good on them for honoring.
Carson Beck right on target to Malachi Toney. And another first down for the Hurricanes.
Mark, back to the run game question that you asked, because I was just about to go there when you asked the question. They're going to have a decision to make when Mark Fletcher's healthy. I don't know how you can't start Girard Pringle going forward because of the dynamic that he brings. Mark Fletcher becomes your short yardage change of pace guy. But the dynamic nature of Girard Pringle is hard to deny the impact that he's had on this offense and what this run game can do.
Last week he averaged 8 yards a carry in that victory. And he's gone over 100 yards here tonight. On another opportunity for Pringle, this time picks up about 3.
It's the little stuff that he does that makes it so impressive. Because as a running back, you have to have vision, but you also have to have pace and feel. And he has tremendous pace and feel. The pace is the speed with which you approach the line of scrimmage. And you don't want to go too fast because the blocks don't have time to set up. You don't want to go too slow because then the defenders have time to get off the blocks. He's got great pace, and his feel of when to throttle that, slow it down just a little bit to let things develop in front of him is excellent.
Beck on a roll right now, completes another one. Toney, touchdown time. Carson Beck with another completion.
I mean, there's just a ton of room between Malachi Toney and the nearest defender, 14-yard cushion. And so what do? You just run a little out route, and you take advantage of all the space that Malachi Toney has. The corners run off into the end zone, and the defender's too far off to be able to make a play on the dynamic freshman.
That's 13 completions in a row for Carson Beck, and 3 touchdowns after that completion. Extra point makes it 41-0.
I was good with not having that look. Wearing the white hat, being back there about 12 yards, having everything run away from me. I was good with that.
Hey, Mark, Jerry's too good looking. We had to get him his face on.
Yeah. Can't hide the product, man.
Can't hide the product.
Got to keep the merch.
Exactly.
Matt Berry, what's good? First and 10, NC State from their own 25-yard line. Duke Scott in the backfield.
Madigan slipping in the Georgia Tech score there at the end. Appreciate it.
Little empathy for you. Backside heat and a fumble. Mesidor knocked it out. And the Wolfpack recovering the football at the 19-yard line. Akeem Mesidor, who's been injured for a lot of the season, nicked up with an impactful play right there.
How about this lady? She got the checklist.
Yes.
Beat NC State. She got that checked off. I think it's pretty safe that she can do that at this point. Then beat Virginia Tech, beat Pitt. I love this one. Then pray. Maybe you should check that one off. The praying needs to happen throughout there.
Yeah, simultaneously. Loss of 6 on that last play. Underneath, complete. And that defense swarming Terrell Anderson, limiting that game. There's a look at the chances of the U making it to the college football playoff. 14-15-0 with a loss. They can forget about the loss today. They'll be okay in that department.
Yeah, that's not going to happen. But the 0% will remain throughout the rest of the season with a loss. But you know, I would say the numbers with a loss, or excuse me, with a win and an Oklahoma loss probably go up, you know, another percentage point or 2.
C.J. Bailey delivers. Almost intercepted there on the out. Lucas, who's been involved in a lot of plays on the corner today, broke that pass up. It'll be 4th and long for the Wolfpack again.
I would actually say Noah Rogers broke the interception up because it felt like that ball was almost thrown to Xavier Lucas, who has been around a lot today. He's been involved. They've tested him a couple of times down the field, had the 1 pass interference called against him. But in this defense, this is probably the most complete performance we've seen out of Miami the entire season.
Facts. Malachi Toney talked about his dad a little bit earlier, who played in the NFL, who famously raced Devin Hester through the streets of Miami in a foot race and beat him. That is part of urban legend in Liberty City here in Miami. And when you produce maybe more players per capita than any other part of the country. You look at Dade County, Broward County, Palm Beach County. That kind of stuff becomes kind of cool through the years.
Makes you a barbershop legend. Did you hear that story in the barbershop? You were getting a lot of your intel this week.
One of several, yeah. Over there at Darvin's Purple Palace, up there in Hollywood. New quarterback in the football game, Emory Williams, will take over.
Familiar name to Miami fans, a guy who has made some big plays in his career at Miami.
Going to hand it off to Humphrey. Chris Wheatley Humphrey. Hey, the 14th ranked Hurricanes women's volleyball team highlights the ACC network schedule tomorrow afternoon. They'll square off against number 7 Louisville at 1 Eastern. You can always watch it on the all-new ESPN app. I'm going to bring you to the barbershop next time. You and Q, seeing as how he's kind of let his stuff grow out a little bit going back to last year. Can give him a nice lineup with my man Ives Hicks.
I appreciate that, man. I always need a fresh line before the game.
Oh, yeah. Ives is the best shears in the South, man.
I'm done with barbershops, Jonesy.
You got to change your picture. That pass complete. Threw a dart. Williams, and on the move still, it's Carr. And a 1st and 10 for the Hurricanes.
Emory Williams, we saw him warming up pregame. First off, he is a massive young man, as you see the numbers on Carson Beck, who's standing there 6'5", 225. It's hard to find a backup quarterback that makes a guy that big look not quite as big. Emory Williams does that. 6'5", 230. And he's had some moments. Remember a couple years ago, that game against Florida State, the year they went 13-0? Emory Williams had them in that game with a chance to win before breaking his arm, trying to get a 1st down.
On the tunnel screen, complete to Carr again. You know, that's a part of football and sports that I think viewers sometimes misunderstand when, you know, QB 2, running back 2, running back 3, the 4th string guy gets in the ball game. They've been practicing hard all week. They should be afforded the opportunity to play at 100% and not be limited. People like to complain about the score being run up sometimes, but for others, it's just a chance. Got Brandon Cleveland shaken up. We're going to take a break and come right back. UFC 322 is tonight at Madison Square Garden, highlighted by 2 title fights. The welterweight and women's flyweight belts are on the line. The prelims begin at 8 p.m. Eastern time with the main event at 10 Eastern on pay-per-view. But buy it at ESPNplus.com/PPV.
I mean, that dude on the right there, they won't even let him in the octagon.
Yeah,
look at those biceps. Good Lord.
This is a open carry state.
I didn't know we could bring guns into the stadium. That's cannons.
Look at that.
Oh, I mean, he's got veins on his veins.
Yeah, man.
Talking about a dude that's in the gym. Oh, man.
I guess it was an arm day or arm month for him.
I'm gonna go hit some
biceps.
I'm gonna go hit some more curls right now, Mark. Start curling the chair.
Hey, man. Take you down to South Beach there, Roddy. Do your thing.
Not with that dude around.
Under 8 minutes to go. The Hurricanes have flexed all over the Wolfpack today. Number 15 in the college football playoff rankings. Emory Williams in at quarterback, and you're going to blow this dead in a flag, a popular refrain sometimes.
Timeout.
For Miami, or they got the timeout first with 7:28 to go.
30 seconds.
You know, Mark, it brings up sort of an interesting dynamic with this Miami team. They're getting reps for the backups in, but large score lines certainly will not hurt Miami down the stretch. I'm not going to say they need style points, but the fact that they jumped Georgia Tech last week when Georgia Tech was on a bye and they played a 3-win Syracuse team, I think had a lot to do with the score line. Because if you watch that game, that was a 0-0 game under 3 minutes in the first half that Miami then dominated in the second half and pulled away at the end. But it was a trick play at 31-3 that got them to 38-0. And so I don't think the committee hated seeing that scoreline. That's all I'm going to say. And so if I'm Miami, the more points, the better.
Style points?
You can call them style points.
Pilot on points?
Pilot on. I call it a good business decision.
Yeah. Williams incomplete. Tried to hit JoJo Trader, who's been a little conspicuous by his offensive silence tonight. Sets up a 4th down and 6. Mario Cristobal has created this team, you could say safely, in his own image with respect to the running game, right? Former offensive lineman, keep it between the tackles, pound away just to play it safe or just to get yards.
Yeah, and that's where I think Girard Pringle has been a game changer for them, because those between the tackles runs have turned into 15-plus yard runs.
Davis from 42, and he's going to pull that one left. Now 2 of 3 on the evening. Folks, let's take a look at our playbook brought to you by Flyhouse.
Let's talk about that freshman running back, Girard Pringle. He's going to line up to the right of Carson Beck. It's just a little handoff to the outside. He gets a block from Francis Mauinoa. Gets one as well from the pulling guard, Samson Okunlola. And his ability to take these little creases and make them 10 to 15 to 20-yard runs has been a little bit of a difference maker for Miami offensively, at least in feel over the course of the day, because a lot of those runs before were going for positive gains, but it's 7 to 12 yards. These are 12 to 20 yards because of the quickness.
Great thing to have in your arsenal. Scott running and picking up a few yards. Another flag down on the field. North Carolina State will take on Florida State at home next week, and then take on North Carolina to finish up their regular season schedule at home.
Personal foul, face mask, defense, number 25. 15-yard penalty, automatic first down. Defensive player, the offensive player may remain in the game.
So getting back to North Carolina State, Roddy, their next win, they become bowl eligible, and they've got Florida State and North Carolina. What do you make of their chances?
I think it's going to be tough. Obviously, you know, from a talent standpoint, Florida State probably has a little bit more, and that offense is incredibly explosive, and so you worry about NC State's defense. That North Carolina series, they've kind of owned recently against the Tar Heels. So that one would be the one that I would look at and feel better about. North Carolina is also not super proficient offensively, and so you worry a little bit less about that Wolfpack defense that's been so decimated by injuries over the course of the season. The thing is, though, Mark, Bill Belichick's squad is starting to play really well on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
So, you know, this has been an interesting season for NC State with the injuries that they've had. Dave Doran has talked about how much fun he's had coaching this team, but the injuries have certainly been frustrating.
Bailey gets it out quickly, completes this pass. Noah Rogers with a catch and run out near midfield, brought down at about the 47.5. You got to think at this point that that 0 on the scoreboard carries a little bit of gravity and significance and importance for the University of Miami's defense, right?
It certainly does. And when you talk about college football playoff, because a lot of it comes back to that, one of the things that they look at is relative scoring defense. That's how many points you allowed versus how many his team typically scores. Well, NC State averages 32 points a game. So that is a minus 32.4 differential.
Yikes.
Right now.
Bailey on the move, completes the pass to Anderson, still on his feet, made a nice run after the catch to get about 3 more. And they move the chains with under 5.5 minutes to go here, a 6-yard pickup. Well, for C.J. Bailey, there was a lot of talk about him coming back to Carroll City, where he grew up and went to Chaminade Madonna, and you know, potentially having a homecoming to remember. This one will be easily erased, or at least he'll try to. It's their first play in opposing territory, and about a 1-yard gain on the play by Duke Scott. Think about the number of plays and the amount of time that the Hurricanes have kept Coach Doring's team on the other side of midfield is startling and impressive at the same time.
We were kind of joking in the break. If you moved the goal line up 50 yards for this NC State offense, made it to 50, they'd still be behind because they hadn't crossed midfield yet. That's how dominant Miami has been on the defensive side of the ball.
Bailey completes it out of the backfield. That's Duke Scott. Shook off one tackler, still on his feet. And inside the 20. Some impassioned running by Scott.
So I was surprised Duke Scott over the course of the game wasn't a bigger part of the game plan early on, especially after his performance last week against Georgia Tech, where he had, or a couple weeks ago, where he had 196 yards rushing, averaged 8.2 a carry. You know, Hollywood Smothers needed to start, but Duke Scott's a playmaker.
This is Wesley Grimes trying to make a play. Coming up about 3 yards shy of the first down. And that man's defense has done a great job today.
Corey Heatherman, with the turnaround of this defense from last year to this year, he's going to start to get some head coaching buzz.
Okay.
And we've seen a couple this year, a couple of assistant coaches that deserve, by the performance that they've had over the years, to get that sort of recognition. Corey Heatherman's one of those guys. He has done a phenomenal job with this defense. They brought in a whole new secondary, the exception of O.J. Frederick. And they obviously had the talent up front, but Corey Heatherman's done an excellent job. Back to his time at Minnesota, James Madison before that, Rutgers.
Defense for disconcerting signals. 5-yard penalty results in a first down.
Well, Coach a little perplexed by that call. Were you trying to break up a happy family on the sidelines and coaching staff?
No, I'm trying to. No, this is always the danger of mentioning stuff like that. I'm not trying to take Corey Heatherman away from Miami. I am recognizing the work that a young coach has done and what he's deserving of. Mario Cristobal knows it.
Man,
it's going to be a crazy coaching cycle.
Yeah, you're right.
And so
you're going to get a mad text from Sarah Jones, a UM alumni.
Maybe a lot of Miami alums, but hey, Corey Heatherman deserves it.
Yeah, he sure does. Great coach. Done a nice job today defensively, making calls and preparing. Aguirre with the tackle on the play. 2nd and goal. And
yeah, Heatherman from Worcester, Mass. He's a huge Celtics fan, Mark, but this is a guy, when you watch him, he coaches with his hair on fire. He loves his job and he loves his players. and he brings the energy. He's consistent, the same guy, talking to the players about him. They love him, and they've gone to work for him this year.
Yes, they have.
Big turnaround when last year they really couldn't trust their defense a whole lot.
They had the best offense in the country, and they ended up 10-2, in large part because of that defense.
2.5 minutes to go. Bailey into the end zone, and that's been a snapshot of their afternoon, throwing the football. Incomplete. 3rd and goal. .227 to go.
This score may seem insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but with pride on the line, it always makes you feel better if that goose egg goes away for NC State, or if you keep it, you're Miami.
Got a flag on the field.
False start. Offense, number 74. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
Miami will finish up with 2 games on the road at Virginia Tech next weekend, and then at Pitt. Bailey steps up a couple of times, eludes the rush. It's a foot race to the end zone, and he tiptoes in, but there's a flag in the end zone as well.
It'd be strange for this to be an offensive penalty where that was thrown and when it was thrown.
Holding. Defense, number 19. That penalty is declined. Play results in a touchdown.
So C.J. Bailey puts the blemish on that perfect shutout. Sprints in for the touchdown to make it 41-6.
A small consolation, but one that NC State will certainly take. Haven't seen this a lot today, the scrambling ability of C.J. Bailey, but that's what the big fella can do if he's able to find a little bit of room.
Could be better days for that young quarterback. They are really enamored of his talent. Became the starter a season ago due to injury and showed a lot of poise in taking over the reins of that offense. And as Quint reported a little bit earlier, his understanding and processing of the offense have gotten much better. His pre-snap reads in particular, according to the coaches, have been one of the bigger areas as well.
Guy who had to get 20 tickets for family and friends for this game. Surprised it was only 20.
Yeah.
But had, as you said, a day to forget. This is a young man who's had a great season. 2nd in the ACC in QBR coming into this game behind only Georgia Tech's Haynes King. Was 4th in the ACC in pass yards, 2nd in pass touchdowns. This has been a rough one, and some of that's been on him. Some of that has been on the offensive line for their inability to protect him consistently. But as you said, better days ahead, certainly for C.J. Bailey. He is going to be an excellent quarterback before it's all said and done. He's already very good. There's a step to take there for him, and I think he will do it before his career is over.
Hurricanes will take over 1st and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Emory Williams had the last series at quarterback. Carson Beck will end the day 21 of 27 for 291 yards passing, including 3 touchdowns. Couldn't have asked for much more from him today, right?
No, he was very efficient, delivered the football where it needed to go. And I think coming into this year, we knew that the quarterback position was likely not going to be as dynamic as it was a year ago, but it didn't have to be.
Right.
Because the offensive line was better. I felt like the supporting cast was better. Went through a little bit of a lull during the season, but I think that's proven out. As long as he can be a point guard, he'll be all right.
Nice run by Wheatley Humphrey. Picks up the 1st down. 17-yard pickup. You talked about last year having Cam Ward at quarterback after that trick play went for a score last week. Ward actually texted Q down there at the Hip Hop Museum a little bit earlier. Didn't know that, Q, you had that in your game, man. Like you tell me you were a part-time DJ in college, right?
Jamming is a funky beat that takes control. Where the short shot boogie that'll rock your soul.
Was that from Jam On It?
How about that? I didn't see that one coming, Q.
Q got bars, man.
I knew that. I just didn't know he was going to break it out during the game.
Luke Nicollet at quarterback as the Hurricanes put the finishing touches on this game. Nice run by Wheatley Humphrey. Boy, meanwhile, as we scoreboard watch at this time of the year in the ACC, Georgia Tech has just pulled ahead, it looks like, against Boston College. Roddy, how's your blood pressure, man? 120 over 80 still?
Yeah, I think you could double both of those, and that would be it. Georgia Tech up 2 with 11 seconds left in the game, in a game where they have had to fight, scratch, and claw against Boston College, who's been in a rough spot for most of the season. That's something that Miami fans certainly have their eye on, or should have their eye on, is Georgia Tech one of the one-loss teams that they could afford a couple losses if you're a Miami fan.
Boy, look at this spirited run by Wheatley Humphrey as we approach a minute to go. This has been a pretty wild year in the ACC, like they all are, but so much to be decided still. That Miami-Pittsburgh game looms large for both schools on Thanksgiving weekend. Can't wait till we get our assignment and find out where we're going.
My guess is it'll be a fun game.
Yes.
It always is.
Oh, nice spin outside by Wheatley Humphrey. Stepped out of bounds. See, Roddy, I'm going to tell you, he stepped out of bounds. Some would call that the sportsmanlike thing to do.
You don't think so?
Well, I'm just saying, I know some people that would have put their hat down and, you know, you're trying to get on SportsCenter too and score a touchdown, feel that euphoria.
I feel that, yeah. I know somebody's going to have some euphoria this weekend. How about you? Happy birthday tomorrow, hey, Mark Jones.
Hey, another lap around the sun. Looking forward to my lovely bride taking me to dinner.
That'd be awesome. Hope it's a good one, brother.
Yeah. Enjoyed my weekend as I always do with you guys. This best crew in all of network college football that I work with.
How's that 3 miles looking for the birthday?
Hey, man, you know, we try and get a nice rest, and that's the annual tradition.
Yeah, I still
a 3-mile run. It might take a little bit longer.
It's okay.
But as my late father used to say, you don't always have to win, just show up sometimes. Miami winning today in convincing